Growing up, there were parental controls on our television. My brothers and I would bounce around Starz, HBO, and maybe even Showtime to find a good movie. Considering everything rated R was off limits, PG-13 was the winner. A Knight's Tale was shown a lot. Am I upset? Absolutely not. We also got our fair share of Shanghai Noon, Count of Monte Cristo, and America's Sweethearts.
No, Dave.
In the long run, the medieval rom-com is a glorious ride. Jousting, romance, more Paul Bettany than you've ever seen before.
What are you doing?
Talk about vision. Got him. I mean, where else could you find 70s rock anthems danced to in the 14th century? We will rock you. Epic. 10 out of 10, would watch again. This is how we missed A Knight's Tale. It's the story of young William Thatcher, a poor kid from Cheapside in penniless England. For a young, moneyless chap, he's got aspirations.
Someday, I'll be a knight.
And you've got to respect that, because the nature of becoming a knight in this movie is ramming large poles into each other at top speed. As a young buck, I never really wanted to do that. As their master dies an untimely death, Wat, Roland, and William begin to prop up Mr. Thatcher as the knight in shining armor. They enter multiple jousting tournaments with the help of Geoffrey Chaucer's
Patents of Nobility.
They answer the question everyone ponders at one point.
Can a man change the stars?
After a few dubs in the bag, William meets Count Adhemar, a man impossible not to hate.
Some of these poor country knights, little better than peasants.
Not only are they enemies in the jousting circuit, but they're also competing for the same woman, Lady Jocelyn.
I've entered into negotiations with her father. I'm to make her my bride.
Smash it all together and you get one top-tier film.
It's called a lance. Hello?
There's no way around it. Heath Ledger is amazing. I don't care if he's a rebellious high schooler, psychopathic villain, or a wannabe knight. The guy had some serious charisma. This movie isn't meant to take itself seriously.
I think he's getting worse. He is getting worse.
Yet there are plenty of heartfelt moments that hit harder due to Ledger's gravitas as a leading man. Then there's Paul Bettany, who definitely has the most speeches in the film.
I missed my introduction!
And is an absolute scene stealer.
Thank you, I'll be here all week!
Granted, those scenes were usually his to begin with.
Now you see that? I do believe.
He's also naked, a lot. Mark Addy and Alan Tudyk play loyal companions as Roland and Wat, respectively. They're both humorous and heartfelt depending on the scenes.
Cause you punch like a what?
A girl.
That's enough of that!
I feel like Mark Addy was everywhere at that time. Whether it was The Time Machine or Down to Earth, the man kept showing up.
Well, the Pope may be French, but Jesus is English.
Alan Tudyk will always be Wash. Non-browncoats be damned.
We all know I'm the funny one.
Rufus Sewell is a great jerk. He's also a
Defender of his enormous manhood.
find me a role where he isn't the same character. He's just way too fun to hate.
Oh, she'll be saddled and placed on my mantle.
Shannon Sossaman is mainly known to me because of 40 Days and 40 Nights, which I could totally go on about, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And then there was that moment in The Holiday where you realize two of the bad romantic interests are both leads from A Knight's Tale. Someone please explain it to me. Why?
That is nothing, and nothing is right where glory will take us.
We're the sons of peasants.
The early 2000s was such a fun time for movies, and that particular month in 01 had a collection of box office bangers. First, it was The Mummy Returns, then it was A Knight's Tale, then Shrek, ending it with Pearl Harbor. It's fun to look back at trends in movie making. Clearly, period pieces were in style. Unlike its competition, it dabbled in many avenues, so the marketing couldn't really lock in.
You desecrate the house of God!
It was about jousting, everyone's favorite sport, obviously. It had comedy, romance, and revenge, but I don't even know how I would market it as a fan. Maybe just Heath Ledger's face. That works. One of its most enduring elements is the choice of soundtrack. I mean, if you go through some of the bops on this puppy, you're in a mood. Opening up with a crowd doing We Will Rock You, training to Lowrider, having a choreographed dance turn into one of the most epic David Bowie dance parties put on film. I think the way it goes from classical instruments into golden years is insanely cool. Not to mention the bitter Count Adhemar just seething in his embarrassment for egging on the scene. By using 20th century rock classics in a 21st century movie based in the 14th century, we're definitely taking some liberties here. But I'm all for it.
Yeah!
If you're going to make a movie all about overcoming the odds and breaking out of societal norms, this soundtrack kicks it up to 11. One of my few questions I always had was, where the mom at?
He believes enough a man can do anything.
She'd probably be the one to say, maybe we shouldn't give our son to the random stranger checking his teeth and arm strength in the middle of the night down by the docks. After 10 seconds, Papa Thatcher be like, see ya, follow those feet, boy. I think this is one of the weirder moments in this movie, and maybe it makes more sense in the 14th century context. But as far as changing stars go, quickly abandoning your child at a dock at age 9 or so will definitely do that. But the chances of becoming a knight are probably pretty slim. Let's go through William's friends for a second and speak to their benefits. Chaucer is a writer, gets him that necessary patents of nobility. Roland unexpectedly turns out to be a fast clothing maker. Kate is an innovative blacksmith and dance teacher. And it all leads you to ask the question, what the f is Watt?
Well done, my lord. Well done.
He's not in the initial scene where baby Thatcher is fed to the teeth-obsessed knight, but Roland is. Oh wait, I forgot. He is the master of fonging.
Betray us, and I will fong you until your insides are out, your outsides are in, your entrails will become your extrails.
I love how even Alan Tudyk couldn't get through this scene without laughing, and if you look at Paul Bettany's face, he's just like, what the?
All the... pain, lots of pain.
In the words of Chaucer, they're all essential.
Maybe not you.
They do a really cool showing of how powerful an author is in the epic takedown of the gambling thugs.
I will eviscerate you in fiction. Every last pimple, every last character flaw. I was naked for a day. You will be naked for eternity.
Something about hearing that in the time period hits even harder. When William is locked up in the pillory and the people are gathering around him, where did the cabbages come from? Where's the cabbage bearer at? My suspicion was always that Count Adhemar was sneaking around everyone with a basket of them, passing them around, snickering. Could have been. When he's in the jail cell, I always confuse what happens in this scene with what happens in the same type of scene in Gladiator. They have similar beats. One is just slightly harsher in nature.
In what world could you have ever beaten me?
There's also a really cool long one-shot that I never realized was one take before. The moment where William and Jocelyn are fighting over him proving his love by losing. The motion in this scene is really cool, and how the characters frame with the window.
Do not me and spare him, now be gone!
Very artsy. If you're not actively telling your enemies,
You have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting.
then I don't know what to tell you. You're just letting the best moments in life pass you by.
I didn't feel a thing.
Sir Ulrich von Liechtenstein is a funny name to make up, and yet it's iconic.
Losing.
I don't understand.
Oh, neither do I.
There's always a need for some feel-gooders in the rewatch ecosystem, and this is certainly one.
What doesn't lead, he follows like a girl.
Knowing the outcome doesn't take away from the journey, and in the very limited canon of Heath Ledger, this is one of his best solo headliners.
If the nobles find out who you are, there'll be the devil to pay.
And pray that they don't.
The message is one that everybody knows to some respect, because we were all dreamers at one point. As time goes by, the movie continues to gain a well-deserved following, and I hope younger generations continue to find inspiration and joy from it. If you're looking for a sequel, look up The Order.
No.
Yes!
No.
Yes!
No.
Yes!
No.
Yes!
No.
Yes!
No.
Just kidding, don't do that. Similar players in a different game.
Better a silly girl with a flower than a silly boy with a horse and a stick.
At the end of the day, A Knight's Tale is a fun ride. It's more or less appropriate for all ages and has an enduring message of breaking out of whatever class structure you've been placed into.
My lord, I'm afraid the final blow of the lance has bent it onto my head.
It's a love letter to the dreamers who can think outside of their means and carve out a future free of societal tethers.
To trudge the slow, weary, depressing, yet determined walk of a man who has nothing left in his life except the impulse to simply soldier on.
Chase those dreams, follow those feet, and change those stars.
And has he followed his feet?
That is how we missed A Knight's Tale. Are you a feet follower? How many feet have you followed? What foot are you following these days? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.